Hoorah, comrades. Yes, I love the energy. Thank you all. Thank you all. All right. I have the pleasure of introducing Elikya Ngoma. She is a member. She's shy back there. She's fine. She is a member of the African People's Socialist Party. She's a member of the African People's Socialist Party who works in the office of the chair as a director, office of the chair as the director of media relations for Chairman Omali Yashatella. She hails from the little Haiti of Miami, Florida, and comes from a family of Haitian immigrants. Oh, we're going to count that? She has witnessed the fear of possible deportation in African families, as well as the effects of deportation on other African families. All right, so this is a bit different from what I expected, but we're gonna make it work. All right, so first I would like to thank President Yesterday Miller and the whole ANWO committee for allowing me to be a guest speaker. As stated, I am Elikya Ngoma, and I come from a family of Haitian immigrants. Being from Miami, Florida, especially the Little Haiti or North Miami area, certain things are just normal. You know, such as having an aunt who's working at a job and she's getting paid under the table, or having a neighbor who was recently deported or, you know, always at risk for being deported. These things were just seen as common. Another common thing is where you could have a family that's split between two countries, which is the US and home, wherever home is, Haiti, the DR, Jamaica, wherever. And one spouse leaves the other spouse behind in hopes of one day bringing the spouse left behind in so that they can get this better life that they're both desperately searching for. This can mean that an African man leaves his wife and kids in Haiti. I'm going to speak specific to Haiti because it's just what I'm used to the most. Or any other Caribbean island, such as the Bahamas or Turks and Caicos, because actually, even with immigration, if you're talking about Haitians specifically, they're often not allowed to come to the US directly. They have to go to another island first, such as my parents, live there for a few years, and if they're allowed, come into the US through that, or they just stay in the Bahamas or whatever island they choose. So since they're not allowed to come straight, usually have one spouse wherever and the other spouse left in Haiti. Now, if it's a man who leaves first, you know, that may leave the woman vulnerable to so many things in Haiti, especially if other people know that she has no one to defend her or no one to protect her. And if it's in reverse, where a woman leaves first, you know, she'll pick up, you know, crazy jobs, odd jobs, again, being paid under the table, face all type of, you know, treatment, mistreatment, abuse. It can be emotional, verbal, physical, sexual, which she says nothing about or nothing against because, one, she needs this job. You know, she don't know what the odds are of her getting another job. And then if it is a case where she is getting paid under the table because of her illegal status, she definitely doesn't want to speak out because she ain't trying to get deported. You know, so these things were just normal, somewhat, it was just understood. Like if you tell, oh yeah, so-and-so's aunt got deported, it was like, so-and-so's aunt went to Walmart. Yes, like, you know, it's pretty bad. So as far as, I'm gonna go back, like let's say you have a man who is here first, and he has a family, a wife and kids in Haiti. Oftentimes what you see happening is that he starts a whole other family here. And he has a wife here, and he has kids here. And I've seen this in many different ways. I've seen it where the wife in Haiti is aware, I've seen it where she's unaware. Sometimes if she's aware, sometimes the family here is being used to support, not used like in a malicious way, but the husband and wife that are here, they're making money, and it's just understood that some of these resources are going to support the family in Haiti or, whatever other country it is. Where even to the point where like the children, you know how you make light of things to normalize it in your own mind? I have a friend who's a comedian, and he's pretty popular amongst the so-called Haitian American crowd, but his whole comedy is about the Haitian American experience. And one of his running bits is that, and of course he exaggerated on how long, but his bit is that his father spent 6 months in the US and 6 months in Haiti. And it's like, what do you think your dad's doing 6 months in Haiti? That's taking care of the other family. And what does that family think he's doing when he's spending 6 months here? That's taking care of this family. So that's that one. And yeah, so as far as the family in Haiti, this can mean anything. The child, especially girls, can now be, these are the children who are likely to be turned into what we call reste-avec. Reste-avec in Creole, we say it as one word, but it comes from two French words, reste-avec, to live with. And a reste-avec is a child, young girl up until, it can be well into 18, really, or older sometimes, where she is living with another family as their servant or as their slave, even. And it can be that sometimes the family, like the mother is in Haiti right there with her, not with her in the house, but in the country, and she's sent to another house. Or it could be that the father is in the US and then the mother has not enough means to send her to school, so she goes into reste-avec. But while she's working at these other houses, like if you could find someone who's not mistreating these people, it's like slim to none. They're being beaten, they're being raped, they're cooking all the food and barely eating anything, washing all of the clothes, but their clothes is, full of holes. Just child slavery, and this is what that opens up. Sometimes I suddenly lose English, and I be wanting to switch in Creole, but I can't, so I might just freeze in the middle of my sentence, okay? So yes, all of these things, we can see how relationships are impacted just by immigration, really. And then, of course, when the woman comes here, picking up jobs again, housekeeping and whatnot, doing whatever they can to try to bring their family into the country. And also one thing, now I'm gonna go into deportation and the fear of deportation, is that, Haitian people are African, we know that. So there's nothing that makes, like when we watch a police shooting of an African that was born here, there's nothing that should tell me that I'm invincible and that it won't happen to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or if, like the Black Girl Head Wrap Wednesdays, or whatever situation there is, that sense of sameness should kick in and make us want to organize along with our Africans here. But often what happens, especially if someone is considered illegal, they don't speak out against these things because, again, their immigration status is, it can be taken away from them, or if they don't have it at all. Or even this whole TPS situation, where, however many 50, 60,000 people are looking at being sent back to Haiti. So it's not that they're not aware that these situations are going on. And it's not even so much that they don't care that these situations are going on, but the fear of deportation. Because to know that you left this place, not because you don't love that place, not because, you think Yeah, not because you don't love that place, but because that place had nothing for you, because we know the conditions of Africans in Haiti. And you're running to the US, which is the reason, one of the main reasons why Africans in Haiti live the way we live. You know, but this is, in your mind, this is how you can see making a better life for yourself. And you don't want to lose that. Because, you know, if you get set back, you're back at square one. And it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go back now all of a sudden and have a better chance. You have a better chance at nothing, realistically speaking. And, you know, even when it comes to like the wet foot, dry foot policy, where you will find that many African people from Haiti even scared to speak up against that, which that policy is basically states that, you know, when the white sellout immigrants from from Cuba. Yes, the worms. Mm-hmm. When they, you know, they get on these boats, and I specified white sellout for a reason. But when they get on these boats and swim or, you know, ride the boats to get to the US, as long as they're like in US shores and they make it to shores, then their status is reviewed, which basically means they get to get kept here anyway. Whereas with Haitians, they get sent back by the boatload almost every single time. And again, it's not like we don't know this is happening, you know. This could be our uncle on the boat, you know, or whatever it is, but there's a fear of speaking out against any of this type of stuff because you don't want to be the one getting deported. All right, I had some more notes. Okay, so this we go. All right, so then even when it comes to deportation itself, let's say an African from Haiti commits a crime, and then it's determined that he has to be deported, commits a crime, and then determines that he has to be, or he or she has to be deported. Oftentimes before they're even deported, from the time that it's said that they have to be deported to the time they actually get deported, they're put in these detention camps. And they're put into these concentration camps, and they're, you know, picking fruits for next to nothing, or, you know, just other really working fields. Slavery, you know, for next to nothing, and then at the end of all that, they still end up getting deported, going back to the country that doesn't know what to do with you, or doesn't have the means to do anything with you, and just, you know, you're just left to, I mean, you want to call it a life of crime, you have to a life of survival, you know, by any means, doing whatever you can to get whatever you can, including, because it is apparently, I mean, not apparently, it's a huge thing, including kidnapping other people who you know has family in the States. That's a big thing. Well, they'll kidnap you because they know you have family in the US. So you're seen as having money. You're gonna make that phone call, say, hey, I've been kidnapped. You know, or you're not gonna make it, they gonna make it and say, hey, your child been kidnapped. We need X amount of money. And, you know, if you want your child to live, you're gonna send X amount of money. So, you know, all of these, you know, the US, it's funny that the US would be the one to try to write immigration laws and immigration policy. It's like, you don't even belong here. And we don't say that lightly because, you know, this land, yeah, this land isn't yours. It belongs to the indigenous people. It belongs to the indigenous people of the so-called Americas that you renamed it. And then you are the one to turn around and say, you know, you Mexicans are illegal, or, you know, you're illegal, you're allowed, this type of immigrant is allowed. Like, and, you know, not too long ago, what's her name? From Australia. Yeah. Elikya Ngoma posted something with two indigenous people from Mexico, and she's like, oh yeah, we're all immigrants, and it's like, an immigrant from Australia, and I'm not talking about, you know, the indigenous people of Australia, which look like us and darker, but well, she's an immigrant to Australia too, really, but an immigrant from Australia is not gonna get the same treatment as an immigrant from Mexico or Brazil or Haiti or Jamaica or Cuba or whatever it is. You know, and For the U.S. to try to say what's an legal immigrant or what's an illegal immigrant. First of all, with any of the U.S. laws, we understand that, you know, legality is it's not even valid over here, because this whole thing should not even exist. Like, I should not even be here speaking this language right now. This should not even be a thing. This conversation, you know, should not even be a thing. And you know, when it comes to how immigrants from African immigrants from African countries are treated, as yesterday said, you know, when we get here and we make any type of money, we sending it back home. You know, I remember like it was a very normal thing that at some point in the year, I'm gonna see a box somewhere. Yes. Okay? Yes, a box, a barrel, or something, and it's slowly being filled up. You know, if I go through my closet, I say, you know what, I'm retiring the shirts. I'm not filling these jeans anymore. Fold it, put it in that box, put it in that barrel, whatever. And when it's full, send it back to Haiti. And then a couple months later, we see a new one, and the process starts all over again. We send the stuff to Haiti. And this is just how, you know, because African people, like, we're not gonna abandon our families. You know, African mothers, even if she's here, like my family, the only time, I can remember this, the only time all 5 of us were in the same place was between December 3rd and December 17th, 2014. And that was when myself, my mother, and my dad went to visit Haiti. And then I was like, this is the first time all 5 of us were in the same place. Because it was 2 siblings over here, 1 wasn't born yet, me. Then it was, okay, 1's born, but 2 over here still, then 2 over here, then, you know, it was just always a mess. Not a mess, but it was just separated. So, oh, I have one more thing, sorry. So, there was something else yesterday said in her opening that I had to write down, when he said that, you know, that we should see no difference between an African born in Miami and an African born in New York. And, you know, white power has us so brainwashed that even when it comes to how immigrants are treated, you know, our African brothers and sisters often play a role in how immigrants are treated. And it's because of, you know, just not knowing better and just needing PE. Really, where you would have, you know, if I open my mouth and have an accent, it's like, oh, you know, you a boat. I don't know if you knew that term in Miami or not. Oh, boat? Yeah. Whether you was, that boat could have been from Haiti, from Jamaica, from, you know, an African from the Dominican Republic. If you were a boat, then, you know, you would be treated a certain way. And that's because these particular Africans have, you know, subscribed to the brainwashing of the media of how to look at their own brothers and sisters that come from other places. So when we say touch one, touch all, it really has to be touch one, touch all. And, you know, I appreciate the African National Women's Organization for even having this as a discussion. So,
but we had a couple of errors in just organizing it. So Elikya had united to really just touch on presenting around this issue. And so we don't have a moderator, but I want to act like a moderator right now and ask some questions and then open it up to the floor. Comrade, you want to say something, Lisa?
I was going to ask a question, but
oh, please, come on up and ask the question if you have one already.
First of all, it's so great to be here. Sister Elikya, I know you're not shy.
that's a lie.
Exactly. Trust me. You're going to block his back.
Let me be shy.
But as I hear you talking, and of course, I mean, I'm so moved by this. And first of all, I just want to say and give a shout out and praise always the Haitian Revolution. Yes, and we influence go, and it went, and it had a tremendous impact with the Civil War that happened here, when our ancestors rose up and threw the whole damn system down in that way. I just wanted to ask about the health impact of all of this, and with immigration, and especially the people are considered not documented. And I can imagine the tremendous effect that it has on their health. But I was also thinking about what role that plays if they experience, you know, a physical emergency. And especially if they are undocumented and they're trying to seek medical assistance. So if you could just
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. Well, for one, there are a few sides to this. I'm not an expert either, but from what I understand. I'm going to start with health. So when it comes to health, usually, you know, these are people coming from the Caribbean and just African places where we still have a sense of nature somewhat. It's, you know, it's not completely stolen from us like those of us that were raised here. And still have a sense of going to like natural type of remedies and stuff like that. So on one hand, because of that knowledge, that may be the only reason why, you know, they probably won't be as much in the ER like an African, you know, born and raised here. But when when something does happen, their first thing is to go to try that method. One, because that's what they know, but two, because it's like, this better work because I ain't got no chance. You know, you go in the ER, if it's bad enough, you know, you can get seen, but I have been in the emergency rooms where other people are in the emergency room and they're not documented, and it's a hassle for them just to be able to see a nurse or a doctor. So it really does have a negative effect on health because, I mean, you're kind of just left up to that person then, or that hospital, to say, you know what, let her get seen or let him get seen. Was there another part to that question?
No, I was just wondering.
Okay.
And if anybody else has questions, please line up at the mic. But my question to you is that not so long ago, the president, Trump 45, however people will call him, made a remark about, you know, can I curse? Yeah. Shithole countries. And obviously the party and the movement has had a response to that because obviously the U.S. is a shithole country and and for reasons that we explained. But can you go into that remark and just how, you know, African and other African, you know, other countries that are outside of Africa and other places are you know, got the way they have been, and you go ahead, Cameron.
Oh, well, if we're talking about the continent, a lot of it was explained in your overview today about, you know, how Africa got underdeveloped by Europe, and, you know, the U.S. sustains that. The UN has its role as well. All of them, they're just, you know, buddy-buddy. If you're talking about in the Caribbean, like, for example, Haiti was one of the countries specifically listed in that category, where the U.S. has done attack after attack in Haiti. I'm talking about whether it's refusing to allow the Haitian government to raise the minimum wage. I don't remember the exact number, but I know it was going to be raised by like 60 cents an hour. And Hillary Clinton actually, the Clinton administration put a stop to that, Hillary Clinton specifically. Or if you want to talk about during the Reagan era, where, you know, the U.S. made that switch from sugar to high fructose corn syrup, which that, you want to talk about health, you know, that just jacks up your health. But at the time before that switch, Haiti was one of our biggest exports was sugar. So that was a direct attack against our economy. Or if you want to talk about the rice tariff that was placed by the Clintons, where instead of exporting rice, because that was another one of our main goods to export, we're forced to import rice. Or if you want to talk about the pigs, you know, or, I mean, just, you know, thing after thing after thing. And of course, the most popular one that people know of recent years is all of the money that was raised by the Clinton administration and whatnot, and it went to nowhere. So if you want to talk about shithole countries, or if you want to talk about why Haiti is the way it is, or why, you know, Africa, you said Nigeria too? Yeah, why Nigeria is the way it is. The U.S. is the one, like, you know, digging and shaping it to be that way.
I just really appreciate, I mean, every panel has been dynamic, but I really, really, really appreciate everything. And my ex-husband went through being caught by immigration, and we had filed the papers. And so I seen firsthand how, you know, he had all his papers when he went through Arizona at the Border Patrol. He had his papers to show that he was in the process of doing it, but they said because he was traveling and he went to a checkpoint that they arrested him. And me at the time was, you know, a premature baby, and, you know, my sister like helping me and my family helping me to get him out of jail, and the crazy prices to get him out, and how he would tell me that the people that was in jail with him were all like from African countries or islands, and Mexicans, and just the treatment that they was experiencing. And one of the sisters that was arrested with him because he did African drumming and dance, and that's why he was traveling, to make resources to pay. And she was arrested too. And how she was able to get out was, when she came out, she was pregnant. And so, you know, she was raped, you know, behind these prison walls. And because at the time she had been here for so long, so she was waiting to be deported, but she was raped. And I guess because she was raped, they went ahead and, you know, gave her peppers and she got out. And it's just like the kind of things that are happening. And you know, at that time, I don't think I was oblivious of what that meant to be an illegal alien. You know what I'm saying? And who tells, I mean, they all illegal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, how are you going to call somebody else illegal? So, like, I just wanted to just, like, really say I really appreciate this panel, and everything you laid out is just a clear picture of what's happening to our brothers and sisters that, you know, that come over here looking for a better way, you know, a better way of life. Because even to this day, I'm not married, but I still seeing, you know, I understand Ghana, and I understand that the people of Ghana are living off barely $1 a day. And, you know, he understands that he came here to make this better way of life, but his mother is still laying on concrete, you know what I'm saying, for a bed. And, you know, a lot of Africans from the continent that come to America, I was in an organization, and I think that I look to them to be able to explain Africa to me. But what I understand, that Africa has been touched, you know what I'm saying, by colonialism. So even though we are here in America, they are colonized there from the school system, from the conditions, and they oblivious because the oppressor is trying to explain to them why they're poor.
I too appreciate this panel, and I remember when the sister was shy. She was shy, but it's so great to see you come out of the shell, and you're really vocal, and very convincing. But when you look at the poverty in Haiti, you're looking at the rate of Haiti. Just like you talk about the Clintons, how they sacked Haiti, how they, out of those monies that came from the disaster, millions of dollars that the people in Haiti, after they calculated, got a penny. Each person got a penny out of all of that money, and, Haiti's condition is just like Africans' condition. When Toussaint Louverture, right? When, he fought the mightiest army, in Haiti, Napoleon army, right?
Yes.
When they lost, when the French had lost, they had Haiti pay them reparations.
Yeah.
Haiti had to pay them reparations because they lost their property, which was the people in Haiti.
Yeah.
And then what was left, Merkel went over there and sacked it, took all of the money that was left.
Yeah.
So when you look at Haiti, you're looking at, the rape of Haiti, and this is modern day rape, that happened in Haiti. So I just want to say, another thing that was done was that, Toussaint called, said any African who escaped slavery
in America don't come to Haiti. Haiti was open to all Africans, and that was really courageous, you know. Haiti was the first, I think, country that had revolution that fought, you know, U.S. Colonialism, fought imperialism, you know, not only U.S. colonialism. So that Haiti is such a tremendous, brave country, you know, and we have to really salute Haiti, you know, and really take it serious about what we have to do, you know. But another thing that I wanted to say was that this country calls people illegal aliens. And I have seen in Africa and other places where they travel without even visas. Yeah. They go into the country and they can buy their visa at the airport. You know, when those countries ask us to get visas here and pay a whole lot of money, they travel the whole world, you know, and they want our resources. You know, the resources coming out of Africa, they want the resources, but they don't want us. They want to separate us from our resources.
And Ro, you do the last question.
Uhuru Cousin.
Uhuru Cousin.
There are two Africans in this who work on this planet that America will never forgive. Toussaint Louverture and Marcus Garvey. And like Comrade Taira was saying, they were so daring, and they told African people that, you know, we don't need these crackers here to build our own future. And I'm telling you, man, they ain't never going to forgive Haiti.
No.
You see, all that money that the people of the world gave, and Bill Clinton and his wife are still sitting on that goddamn money.
Yes.
And nobody is saying a damn thing to them about this immigration issue. One of the biggest problems that we do, those of us who were born in the continent, you know, or the Caribbean and things like this, we are not going to fight this thing successfully without including the Africans that came before us in this goddamn place. You know, and they call them misnomerly African Americans. That's the only way this cracker here, this Trump, is going to understand that we mean business too. But if we want to fight this in isolation like Senegambia or Nigeria, it ain't going to work. We have to come together with the Africans that came before us here. They know this cracker than anybody else on this planet. Africans who came to the United States know U.S. imperialism better than anybody on this planet. So if we want to fight this immigration shit effectively, the first people that we have to, first communities that we have to go to is the African communities across this planet. I mean the United States. Uhuru.
Uhuru, I was gonna, I guess it's not even I guess, it's kind of like a comment about the importance of this right here, this conversation, especially on immigration and America, just talking about this place right here. And then as a person, where my father is like, we don't run that, he didn't run that African American. I had to join ANWO, and it wasn't even like me being self-critical, it was taking accountability. Coming from a family where, how you said, like, it's inexcusable for my family not to see each other. And the first time I'm seeing my family all together it was last year, 2017, right before my soul and things like that. But my parents lived blocks away. That's inexcusable. Knowing your children or anybody in your family or your community is as impoverished as it is. And this is just in Los Angeles, Inglewood, California, places like that. Like, the conditions of our people elsewhere are so much worse, and we can be doing so much more for our people like we should be. So joining ANWO, it really made me have to get out of that mindset of, these are my people, I am not, or I am a other, or something like that. And that's something that, like, that has definitely changed my life. That was something that was a mad necessity. And just fighting through the contradictions of growing up here and people telling you you're not African, making fun of the word African, and, you know, being embarrassed to be like, no, I am African. So, dog, I joined the African National Women's Organization just because, like, no. And it's something to be proud of. My dad want to throw around the name, oh, you're Choctaw, you're this, you're that. No, let me tell you where we all come from, sweetheart. Like, let me run this to you, and why we should all be organizing, and why we should all be trying to make a difference. Because until there is freedom there, then we're still going to be here complacent, sitting on our bottoms, saying we're not African while we're watching our our brothers and our sisters be impoverished, and we can do something about it. And it's an American privilege that people that look like me and people that look like us have to be here, have these colonial jobs, be able to work on a plantation, if you want to say be able to work on a plantation, and still look elsewhere and turn a blind eye where people who are us, people who are like us, people like our people are impoverished and things like that. So the importance of this to me especially is, it's why I joined ANWO, and that's why that table right there is in the back.
Membership,
Yeah. Seriously, like, that's definitely the importance, and I'm very grateful for you being up here. You speaking on the importance of political education. I had to run it through my family and let them know, like, you're not an other. Like, you're definitely not an other. Those conditions reflect our conditions that reflects colonialism.
Yeah.
Everything that you're privileged with or you have is only a downpour of the symptoms of colonialism that you're going to face, that they face on a daily basis, and you can't sit on your ass and not do nothing when your people are impoverished. Like, we're living in poverty, period. That was it.
Closing words? Yes. I would like to say, check out this table right here called O'Malley Ishtel. Get your I Am a Black Identity Extremist t-shirt. Okay. Get you some books, you know, sign up for the Marcus Garvey Legacy Cruise, sign up for the Black is Back Electoral Campaign School, you know, all that stuff. All right.
Thank you so much, Conrad.